Doing a test. Test on StreamYard. 1, 2, 3. Looks like I'm in. Seeing if this all works. So it does work. What's up, Andre? I'm just doing a check. Doing a check on here. I think I've only been on StreamYard by myself once. So I'm just seeing how all this works. I would love to see Ennis. I would love to see that fight. I mean, I'm a big Boots fan. So that would be a great fight, but I don't think they'll make it yet because it's boxing and they want to maximize it, build the guys up. It's funny, after Danny Garcia won his fight at 154, and he looked good. He didn't fight a real legitimate guy at 154. He didn't talk about wanting to fight Tony Harrison or anyone like that. He said he wanted to fight Keith Thurman or Lara, which was kind of odd. Keith Thurman, I would love to see Boots and Keith Thurman do it. They're both in PBC. So why not have them do it? I don't know if Boots, I don't know if Thurman, if that fight would be worth it to him financially, because he'd be facing a young monster, and I'm sure he wants to maximize his money that he gets in his fights. But yeah, that would be a good fight, Andre. So I'm trying to see how I can play video on here. Benavidez looks shot funny, part Tony. Exactly. I'm a big Tony Harrison fan. I was in his camp for a little bit before him and Charlo, when they had their rematch. I was in both guys' camp, and I'm a big Harris fan. And you're right. I was thinking the same thing. Skywalker Boxing. Skywalker, look, I'm not a pro like you guys on this thing. I just jumped on here, and I'm just seeing how all this works. But yeah, Benavidez, you were talking about Tony Harrison. Tony Harrison's in the building, and he's saying, yeah, I'm praying for Danny Garcia to win. And then Danny Garcia wins, and the first guy he challenges is a welterweight and Lara at middleweight. So I don't know. We'll see how serious Garcia is about 154. I thought he looked good for who he fought. Benavidez is certainly not in the upper or the lower echelon at 154. So yeah, Skywalker, I'm not sure what I'm doing on this thing. I'm just seeing how it works. I've been on other people's programs, so I figured I think I did this once a long time ago. But I'm just trying to see how it works. I'm trying to play. It takes a few times. You should. I do everything. That's good, man. I would never be able to do it off my mobile phone. I know that. I know that. So what I was trying to do, let's see. I want to play my last. This is it. Another One Round with George. What is One Round with George? It's 3 minutes or more of boxing talk. Let's get into it. Hit that intro. Ever since I was a kid and saw Sugar Ray Leonard fight, I've loved boxing. I was at HBO for 15 years as a feature producer, won a few sports Emmys. Not bad. I got to travel the world and tell the great stories of these fighters.
Maybe something of a rooting interest in Alexander among the entire HBO Sports crew here, because Alexander's manager is former HBO Sports producer George Jacobin.
Got you, Skywalker. I've managed a fighter. I've worked a fighter's corner, being as close to the action as you can get. my life is revolved around boxing. This weekend, July 30th on Showtime Boxing, former 140 and 147-pound champion Danny Garcia is back. He's facing off against Jose Benavidez. It is Garcia's first fight as a junior middleweight, 154 pounds. What would a Danny Garcia fight be without his dad, Angel?
July 30th on Showtime. Don't forget, the Danny Garcia Show, the greatest show on earth.
I got to spend time in Danny Garcia's gym in Philly before he fought Errol Spence a few years ago. I'm always going to be a fan of Danny, always going to be a fan of his dad. Let's see how he performs at 154 on Saturday. On the undercard heavyweight, Adam Kovnasky faces off against Turkish Olympian Ali Demirizin. It's been a while since Kovnasky has been in the ring, not since he was destroyed by Robert Helenius twice. We'll see what he has left in this heavyweight showdown. Happy birthday to Paul the Punisher Williams. The fight that I remember most for Paul Williams was in 2007. I was working for HBO and I was in the house when he took on welterweight champ Antonio Margarito. Margarito was a boogeyman of the division back then. Said no one wanted to fight him, but Paul Williams did. Paul Williams could throw punches for 12 rounds. That's what he did to Antonio Margarito that day. He beat Margarito, he beat his hand wraps, and he became welterweight champion of the world. Sadly, 10 years ago, Williams was paralyzed in a motorcycle accident, but he's still out there. He's still representing himself. He's still representing boxing. He's not forgotten. Paul the Punisher Williams. Another recent birthday to one of boxing's good guys. Former fighter and trainer John the Iceman Scully celebrated a birthday. Again, he is one of the good guys. Had to stream. Oh, shoot. I'm not a rookie anymore. Look at that.
Bro, I'm gonna help you navigate and try to learn it a little bit. StreamYard, it's easy. It just takes a few times of practice. I'm on my phone, so it's hard. I have to like squint and try to interact with the chat. But
yeah, I can imagine it must be tough on the phone. I was on this once before, but I'm trying to. Oh man, you got a little guy behind you, huh? One of your little ones.
He caught a fishing hook in his face yesterday fishing.
Oh.
And they had to remove the barb and they had to put show his cheek. They had to put another hole to get the barb out and pull it out. Yeah.
I hope it didn't happen live on your show.
No, I wasn't going live yesterday. No.
Okay.
But yeah, man, he was fishing with some other kids, and another kid was in a cast, and the barb catfish hook got in his cheek. Anyway, it dug all the way. I was surprised it didn't puncture all the way through. It was just the barb was all the way in his meat, like the full hook was in his cheek. And
he looks like he's doing okay now.
Yeah, he's fine. He was freaking out yesterday. We had to take him to the emergency room, and then
oh my god,
they had to cut it off and poke another hole through to like slip it out, or cut the barb off. But,
oh, that sucks, man. Hey, look, Bruce, like he follows every single show on YouTube. I swear, he's up on everything. I see him in the chat.
I do too. I subscribe to a lot of people, and then I like, man, bro, I respect a lot of people, bro. Like, and so when they go live, bro, even if I'm at work, that's why I got the name the Skywalker, because I would call into these boxing shows if something got, something, I wanted to talk on, I would call from the air. I'd be like, man, I'll just take my break. Let me hit the StreamYard. And that's how I got the name the Skywalker from all the shows, because of the high-rise window cleaning. But
dude, watching you do your work, man, that makes me, first of all, I'm not brave enough to do it. And
yeah.
Second of all, I mean, that's crazy. I guess you have no fear of heights.
Yeah, I was in the military, so I used to jump from airplanes. I was airborne, and then I was aerosol.
My uncle did the same thing. I respect that.
Yeah, I had 2 wings on my chest, and ever since I was young, man, I got pushed out of airplanes. So I got used to working with heights. I've been working with heights, so I respect it. I've seen people die, it's you have to respect it, man. And once you respect it, you get comfortable with it. Like I have a mental checklist in my head that I never skip. I always make sure that all my gates on my carabiners are locked, and my ropes. I inspect my ropes because they can get cut, and I check everything out real good, man. So
man, that's wow. See, you never know somebody's story. Like I wanted to ask you, how'd you get into boxing? Because that's what everyone asks whenever they have someone on the show. How'd you get into boxing?
Yeah, my uncle, man. My uncle's Bobby Chacon. He's
that's right. That's right.
That's my uncle. It's my mom's brother. And thing is, my family was kind of split. His original, because he had a stepfather and a father. Well, his original father left Bobby, so there was a little. While he was famous, we were just in El Paso, and he was in California. But yeah, my grandfather got deported from California, then he came back from Mexico and they moved to Chicago, and he had more kids, and so I was raised with Bobby Chacon's father, but Bobby Chacon came around in the later years when my grandfather was dying in the 90s, and at that time he wasn't good himself, like the dementia.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I got to meet him, and I've always been into boxing. My grandfather is the one that got him into boxing. My grandfather was a boxer from Mexico, so it's been in our family, the Chacon family. I have his picture up here. There he is.
Wow.
There's his glove right there. Yeah. So that's how I got into boxing. It's just part of the family, like family sport on my Mexican mom's side. We either play soccer or boxing. That's Mexican.
Dude, I mean, Bobby Chacon, that's like royalty. And I love interviewing. I mean, I love the sport period, but I like to talk to the former champions and the former fighters, because people forget quick, man. They forget about fighters quick. And I mean, that's your family, your blood. You see what boxing can do to people. And
I
Bobby
boxed,
was one
I
of those
boxed when I was a
cases.
kid too. Yeah, Pals League, and I even had a broken hand from boxing, and I was allowed to get in the army with it.
Yeah.
Back to Japan, but yeah, I boxed a lot, bro, when I was a kid. I did
But
martial arts too.
but you see what it can do to someone, because I mean, your
Yep.
uncle, he was a big star, and then at the end, the sport just, you see it a lot. It just chews
Guys,
people up and
yeah,
spits them out.
yeah, they fought the best back then. They went 15 rounds. There was no stop. Like, we seen a bad stoppage this past weekend, and there was no stopping fights, man. And there were bloodbaths. A lot of the guys like Freddie Roach, Ali, all the old fighters, man, had the same dementia my uncle had, and it eventually killed him early. Early on, he would go homeless. He would be in Skid Row, LA. And
Hmm.
I don't know if you've seen the documentaries about my uncle, but yeah,
Yeah, I have.
their life. Yeah, he wasn't doing too well, but he always had a smile on his face. He loved people. He had a great spirit, bro. That's the one thing about my uncle, man. And yeah, there's just a lot of brain damage that these older fighters now with the 12 rounds and the refs stopping stuff. It's very important, man. And maybe we'll see our this next generation of fighters when they get older, kind of get through that illness.
Well, that's why, a lot of people they criticize fighters for not fighting enough, and they don't fight tough opponents. I mean, it's a tough sport. The more you fight, the more you get hit in your head, the more damage you have. It doesn't mean you shouldn't fight the best fighters, because I think some fighters use that as an excuse. But like your uncle back then, I'm sure he probably sparred more than anyone ever knows, probably sparred with no headgear
Right.
and took all that punishment. I remember I was a little kid, like 7, 8 years old, watching your uncle fight, Boza Edwards and guys like that, like just wars.
Right.
And you're like, it's thrilling to watch it. Me as a kid, I'm not thinking about how's this guy gonna be in 10 years and in 15 years.
Yeah, and also, dude, there's in the '80s a lot of like musicians. If you're into rock and stuff like that, everybody thought cocaine was one hell of a drug back then. They thought it was a celebrity drug in LA especially, man. Like there was so much cocaine in LA, and it was a celebrity. They didn't know nobody knew the results of it. They knew that it wasn't good for you. It was a partying drug, but nobody knew that what it would do to you in the long term. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And, yeah. So cocaine, partying. There's other issues like with his wife Valerie. You know what I'm saying? Like she didn't want him to fight.
Right.
She was doing a lot of drugs. So your mind is not right. The cocaine induced, the alcohol, the '80s. The big hair. That's how it was back then, man. And yeah, so it's just crazy times back then, man.
But even today, man, look, people are I was just doing a test. Bruce Gass, Carl Hunter Hansen, Mad Chad, Teach. Mad Chad doesn't show his face enough on when he does his shows. What I want to say was, even today, I mean, I'm not going to say who the fighters are, but I've been around some fighters in the last year or two that are not old men. They're like mid-30s, and I can hear their speech already starting to be changed from the punishment. So
right. Yeah,
man, It's a tough sport, man,
It
and
is.
I'm
That's
I'm
why you gotta
surprised you
respect
never
every
fought.
fighter.
I'm
Huh?
I'm surprised you never tried to make a career out of it since you were
Right.
born into it.
I was pretty decent. I got a really bad broken hand off a punch. I landed the wrong punch and it broke my shit so bad. I had rods and my hand's still deformed from it. Let me see if you can see it. There's my
Ooh,
hand.
yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, I just never trusted punching with it after that. And then the military took me on a medical waiver. They asked me if I could lift pounds and everything, and I became a forward observer, which is like it's almost like infantry, but like a radio man calling in artillery and strikes, mortar strikes, missile strikes.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's what I did in the military.
Wow.
I
And
did
now
I did all
now
the
look at
physical
you. Now you're doing your thing, talking boxing on
trying, bro. I've been doing it just less than a month, bro. Just less than a month. But I watch everybody. I watch your show every week. I love your recaps, man.
Thank you, man.
You got a lot of experience, bro. I love to pick your mind because you've been around all the greats, bro. Like, dude, yeah, you've had a blessed career, especially with HBO. It's crazy, man.
Yeah. Yeah. Look, and when I got there, I was, I grew up as a boxing fan. I went to college and I was a communications major, and I've told Bruce this story, but the first day I got to HBO, I was in the bathroom. I was in the bathroom taking a shit, and I sat down, and I sat down. I'm saying, "Oh my god, I'm taking a shit at HBO." Like Sugar Ray Leonard, George Foreman, those guys, they might have taken a dump like right here. So,
Right,
it was a cool place, man. It was a cool place to work until there was no more HBO sports,
right.
but the sport boxing doesn't die. Like people,
Doesn't
Ali used to say, boxing is going to die when I'm done. It
right.
changes. It goes through peaks and valleys, but it never dies.
Yeah. Then I heard you're with the Smith camp for the what do they call that the top
It's
ranked football-
blood, sweat,
blood,
and
sweat, and
tears.
tears. Yeah,
It's
blood,
it's
sweat,
the
and
same
tears.
kind of show that everyone does. Yet
Yeah,
I was with Joe and his trainer Jerry Capabianco is like literally one of the nicest guys I've ever met in my life. When you
yeah.
spend time in these camps, and it was only for about a week, but
Right,
you root for the guys. I wasn't
right,
in Beterbiev's camp, but I saw all the footage and I
right,
saw the way he was training, and I figured, man, if Joe's gonna have a shot, he's gonna have to land something early.
right,
And he did, and he got caught. He was throwing those wide shots, and he got just caught.
right.
I think Beterbiev is the best 175 pounder
Yeah,
in the
he's
sport,
tough.
and I give props to Bivol for what he did to
Yeah,
Canelo.
right.
But he's a monster, man.
Who do you got on the Bivol and what's the zones guy? Oh, why am I not thinking of his name?
Not
Zerto,
Yard.
Zerto Bivol. Zerto?
Oh, I like Bivol. I mean, Bivol,
Yeah,
Bivol was he fought on HBO a lot when I was there because he might have been co-promoted by Main Events, but that you could tell they were grooming him for something big, but he never really like panned out.
right.
He had a nice boxing style, but he wasn't very exciting. And it's funny, he's been undefeated all these years, but they were building him up, and then it was like you didn't hear about him anymore. He
Right,
didn't
right.
have any big fights, and I know that's exactly why Canelo picked him because they figure, well,
Yeah,
we want a belt at 175, and he's probably the easiest guy to get it from.
right.
And they were wrong. It's a good thing they didn't pick Beterbiev because I think he would have just shattered Canelo.
Oh, yeah, he would have knocked Canelo out,
I
probably.
mean,
Yeah,
but yeah, yes, Joe Smith, a good dude, man. But I'm like that every single camp I'm in. I was in Tim Bradley's camp before he fought Manny Pacquiao the first time.
right.
And look, I thought Pacquiao won that fight. They gave it to Bradley, but like just a cool dude, man. His whole
Yeah,
team, Joel Garcia, or Joel Diaz, I'm sorry, was training him back then. Just like when you're around these guys, you just everybody's human, and you root for them. And I was rooting for Joe Smith when they fought, and he got caught. That's boxing.
yeah, yeah, it is. Yeah, definitely. That's how I feel with my friend Nonito has been popping in on my show a lot with him and Inoue. I think he's a great boxer, but yeah, he got caught, man. Just when you brawl, you
Hey,
brawl.
look what he's done. Like, I mean, what's he like? 38?
Yeah, he's 39. Yeah.
Dude, to be that old in those lower weight classes to do what he did, I mean, he's
Yeah.
already a Hall of Famer.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
the dude is
Definitely.
a legend already. Yeah, he got caught.
Yeah.
But I mean,
Fought
nobody
in 4 weight
you don't
classes.
do that in those lower weight classes at that age. Usually those guys get I don't know why they get burned out, but he
You know
did.
what? They take more punches. You know how the heavier weights, you take less punches, but they're harder, but they take more repetitive punches. You know what I mean? I think and kind of beats them up more.
But it's funny, man. When I was a kid, when a fighter was like 35, they were pretty much over the hill. They would be called old men. And
Right.
now, like Beterbiev, who we're talking about, he's 37. He looks like he's 27, but he hasn't had that many fights. He's had a lot of amateur fights, but not a lot of pro fights. So, I don't
Yeah.
know. Today, like heavyweights, I mean, light heavyweights, mid 30s, that's not old.
Yeah.
I think Bud Crawford is 30. He might be 34.
Yeah. Yeah. They're getting up.
And
Getting
those
up there.
guys they're not considered old. Stormy B
Right.
man, but they're not considered old. But when I was a kid, 34, 35, you're old. You're
Yeah,
like
but a
old.
lot of the 70s and 80s fighters, they had careers that, or even like Bernard Hopkins or, like just all them older fighters, they had careers that went over 20 years fighting. I'm like, wow, or 25 years, like, B-Hop was the oldest champ, but like, just, a lot of the fighters, man, fought till they were older. And I think Nonito, that's what he said. He said he wants to fight another 3 years.
He still wants to fight.
Yeah, he's gonna go. He's trying to move down to 115. He's going after Kazuto Ioka. He's gonna announce it this week on his channel, and they already kind of told me. So what their plans are, they already talked to Richard Schaefer. They're lining it up. They're trying to go after that belt that Donnie Nietes couldn't get, the WBO junior. It's a 115 belt.
Hey, look at this party, man. Look, Bruce. Hey, Bruce, you there?
George, my brother, Tim, what's happening? George, I didn't want you to get lost over here, so I said let me go help him out on this first live that he's doing. I heard you mention my name a half dozen times out there, and I said, hell, man, I'm gonna go up there and christen my brother George's first live off on a good note.
I tripped
Man,
up too.
I don't even have anything to talk. I just said, you know what? Let me jump on and see how to work this thing. And I should have known that there'd be some people out there.
Right, I came up here to help him out, man.
was gonna
Started
be out
talking
there.
boxing.
That's the beauty about this, George. We love boxing. There's no schedule here. This isn't ESPN. This isn't HBO. We can just turn it on live and we can let it go. And whoever comes up here and joins us, man, God bless. And whoever doesn't, like, this is like cable TV, except there's 39 million channels to tune from,
Yeah, because like Stormy B, man, I'm seeing all the
Salute, Stormy.
yeah, and the Hunter and Mad. I wish Mad. If Mad Chad wants to come on, he can come on, but he's got to show his face. He rarely ever shows his face. Bruce, why is that?
Could be a wanted man. I don't know, man.
Hey, you know what? He might be. Hey, you know what I was going to talk about? In my next show, I was going to talk about this whole Jake Paul thing before it got canceled, because I was going to watch it, but I don't really care about it. I figured Jake Paul was just making Rahman boil down to 200 pounds, 205, so he could get him weakened. And then this whole nonsense happened. What do you guys think about the whole Jake Paul Rahman thing?
Man, I'll tell you, I've heard the three sides. I've heard what Jake Paul has to say.
Exactly.
I've heard what Rahman has to say, and then I heard the MVP promotions line on it. After listening to everything, George and Tim, personally, I think it's a money problem. I don't think the fight was selling well. I don't think the pay-per-view was going well. Madison Square Garden, it takes a lot of money to light that place up. I think this was the easiest way to shut it down and, have a little drama going on and maybe see if you can build it up again. But, I mean, I could be 100% wrong. It might be the weight. But, I don't see how Hasim Rahman would sign to this contract for all this dough, being the professional that he is, and not making that contracted weight. And then with Jake Paul, he looked like a crackhead out there yesterday, man. He was just screaming about everything else and unprofessional and how dare you tarnish my reputation and blah, 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 blah. Man, it's more like the WWE WrestleMania than it is a boxing event. You know what I'm saying, brother?
Look, it's about money, and Showtime wants to make money. Tim, what do you think about it?
I think it's a blame game. I think that trying to get him to cut that much, they already know that he's a big guy, bro. Like to get him down to what he had to get down to 205. That was I think it was a tactic. It's kind of a blame game as far as like, you know, oh, he didn't make weight. You know what I'm saying? Like I think it was too hard for him to make that weight. I think that from what I heard is that he had a short notice, that they gave him a real short notice. And the notice was just like too crazy for him to make, you know, like he's not going to drop 25 pounds, you know, in less than a week, you know. So
Yeah, but you know, you have up until the weigh-in to do it. I've never seen supposedly the New York State Athletic Commission came in because he's going to lose more than 10% of his body weight. And I don't understand all these make them up as you go along rules. But you know, the thing is, man, this is really unprecedented. I've never seen a fight canceled because of this. I've seen fights canceled because of weight. I remember the infamous Michael Spinks and Eddie Mustafa Muhammad.
Right, I remember that. HBO.
Mm-hmm. And Michael Spinks was sipping on his Campbell's soup, saying good. And Eddie Mustafa, he wanted to do non-title. He wanted to drop down to 10 rounds. He said the scales were off. They went out and bought the bags of sugar. You remember that one, George?
Yeah, I remember. I mean, this is just the circus. And Jake Paul, you know, he's a fighter just because he gets into the ring, and I respect anybody who does it. But don't give me this stuff about he wants to be better, because if he wanted to be better as a fighter, he'd be fighting on Showbox. He'd be fighting guys around his level. Instead, he's fighting basketball players and MMA guys. He's fighting a boxer. He's fighting Hasim Rahman, who lost his last fight and was trying to get him to boil down to 200 pounds. He's in it for money. That's why he's in it. I'm sure he wants to get better, but he wants to make money. He should be fighting on Showbox. You want to improve as a fighter, get on Showbox and fight guys at cruiserweight, fight guys that are coming up just like you. But he won't do that because listen, the purpose of a business is to make money. Boxing is a business. They want to make money. Showtime wants to make money, and he's making money. I'm glad he put shine on some other fighters, but he does not want to get better not as a real fighter. Maybe he wants to get better as a YouTuber, but not a real fighter.
He got all his money from YouTube, man. He's already got so much money. My kids know him more. You know, that's one good thing about him, though. I don't want to knock on him too much, but one positive thing about him is he's bringing in casuals into the sport.
And I love that too.
My kids know Jake Paul. They watch his channel, and I'm like, whoa! Like I never even noticed. When they hear Jake Paul, they're like, Dad, we know Jake Paul, and I'm like, oh yeah, you do. And so they know, they know the fights that he's got coming up, and they know more than I do, type deal, because of YouTube. So I guess he's bringing a new fan base, which is better for boxing. It increased the numbers of it.
I love that. Like, put the shine on fighters. And look, Amanda Serrano has made good money. I love Amanda Serrano. I'm sure he helped them sell out their fight that they had in April, Serrano and Katie Taylor. So I'm glad that Jake Paul is putting a shine on fighters, but
I don't think he is. I think he's putting a shine on himself. I think if he went to the WWE, all his fans would go to the WWE. I don't think they're going to stick around. I don't think they want to see who Hasim Rahman was going to fight after Jake Paul. I think Jake Paul is the end-all, be-all for all his followers, man. I just don't see him as boxing fans.
Well, that's why this is just a money thing. Like it's just about money. He keeps saying how he wants to be a champion and a better fighter. Oh, by fighting who?
Driving to the gym in your Lamborghini is not what I would call what an upcoming boxer is made of.
Exactly. In 19 days, and I know you guys know this, but in 19 days, there's a big heavyweight championship rematch, and it's like nobody talks about it. It's like no one knows it's happening unless you know boxing. Like Usyk and Joshua, there's nothing on this. That's
the biggest global fight, man. It's supposed to be, and here in the States, it seems like I'm not getting no hype on it, man.
Well, it just says a lot for boxing. You got the heavyweight championship of the world, and this to me is the unified, probably the most important belt out there. But then again, nobody even knows it's going to happen unless we promote it. I think they're looking for people like us to promote these kind of these fights.
Well, you know what's funny? I'm working on a show for that fight that's supposed to air. We have no idea where it's going to air because they don't know where the fight's. First it was going to be on Sky, now they're not sure. The Saudis paid a lot of money for that fight, but I don't think they care about how many people watch it. I think they want people to go to Saudi. They're trying to build this as a promotional tourism thing for Saudi Arabia, but no one knows about the fight. It's less than 3 weeks away. And like you said, Tim, there's no buzz. And it's a heavyweight championship fight. It's a rematch.
Right.
It's on a global stage. They're trying to compare. Now, in promotion, they're trying to compare this to the Thriller in Manila and the Rumble in the Jungle just because it's an international fight. Nobody knows about this fight.
Yeah. It's an interesting fight, too, because it's a rematch. And we're going to see what kind of new tricks AJ comes with. And we're going to see if Usyk does the same thing or if what AJ's learned from Robert Garcia or, it's going to be a damn great fight, bro. I'm looking forward to it. I'm surprised they're not hyping it up.
So here's my little, if you want to call it insider's knowledge. I was looking at footage because we had someone in both camps about a month ago, and the Joshua footage I saw, he looked terrible against his sparring partners. It's almost like he's afraid of fighting a southpaw. He talks about southpaws like they're these mythical creatures. And you can't judge a fight by seeing 2 days of footage, but he looked terrible. I mean, he brought in Robert Garcia because he's supposed to be, he's going to be more aggressive. But Joshua also got stunned and hurt in the third round of that first fight. I think people say, oh, he's just going to walk in and knock him out. He might catch him, but he got buzzed by Usyk. He got hurt by Usyk, and I don't think he's going to forget that.
Right.
Nope.
And he's not going to be able to do what he did with Ruiz. You know how he kept his distance from Ruiz and stuck his jab out and would keep that distance from Ruiz from letting off some power shots.
Yeah, you mean the Ruiz that came in the ring training on donuts, right?
Right. Yeah.
Usyk is in shape.
Quick.
And Usyk he's in shape. I mean, he's been training in Dubai for like a month. So he's going to be in shape. There's Bruce. There he is. There's that handsome face. But it's crazy that 19 days and I don't know. Do people even care? I know, Bach, we care about the fight, but there's no buzz at all.
No buzz.
Nope.
There's more buzz on a fight that's not even being made right now.
It's a sad state of boxing because like I just said, the heavyweight championship of the world. This is what the world stops for. This stopped the Vietnam War. This stopped World War II. I mean, the heavyweight championship of the world has so much prestige, but yet, like you said, man, even quasi casual boxing fans, they don't even know who Alexander Usyk is.
Exactly.
It's not boxing like we know it and like we love it. There he is, man, that Aussie guy, Carl the Crocodile Hunter Hansen.
Oh man,
How are you, legend? Hey, George, I just want to say, bro, congratulations on going live. It's about time, man.
Yeah.
It's about time, dude.
You don't mind if I smoke, do you, brother? 100% legal.
Come on, man. Do your thing.
Yeah, George, I love your videos and that, man. You got a great insight and you got great knowledge, man. It's an honor to be on here with you, bro.
Thank you, man. Hey, we were just talking about Usyk and Joshua. Is there any buzz over there?
Amongst the diehards there is, but yeah, I mean, we all just want to see Usyk at the end of the day. We want to see how far this guy can go. I think the sky's the limit for him, bro. And I heard, I don't know how true it is, but I heard he sent all his sparring partners home because he's doing too much damage to him.
That's what I've read. I mean, I don't know if it's true. I do know I did see Joshua sparring, and he wasn't touching his sparring partners. So,
man, I'm telling you now, if Usyk's sending sparring partners home, it's going to be a war. And yeah, I don't know, man. I see Usyk's he's going to have a lot more a lot more on his mind this fight. and I think he's going to cut. I just hope he keeps his head. He's got a great boxing head, very smart ring IQ. I just hope he keeps that for this fight, because if he comes in with all the problems he's got with his country, and we all know he's going to fight for his country, but sometimes that can go against you, bro. Like, look at George Kambosos. He had it. He had everything. He had the biggest mouth. He fought. First time we've had a title fight in Australia, since Jeff Horn, and we didn't like that outcome of the Jeff Horn Pacquiao fight. And look what happened to George, man. He was, the spectacle got to him. It was too much. So I just hope Usyk fights his same game plan, and I want to see Usyk win. I'm not a big fan of AJ.
I think AJ lost the killer instinct that he needs. That a successful boxer, he can harness that killer instinct in that round in 12 rounds. He can turn it on. I don't think AJ has it anymore. I mean, it's such a common term, silk sheets. But I really think AJ's had those silk sheets. I think he's looking at the stock ticker more than he's looking at the boxing results. I think he's just not 100%. And to be the heavyweight champion of the world, you have to be able to click it on for those 12 rounds. Nothing is going to bother you. The eye of the tiger, so to speak, man. Like Sugar Ray Leonard had, bro. Like Ali had. Like Aaron Pryor. So many of these guys who had outside problems in the ring, but when it came to the fight time, they were all boss, 100%. I don't think AJ has that in him anymore. I really don't.
And that's if he doesn't, that's bad news. He might get hurt. He brought Robert Garcia in. Robert Garcia is more of a aggressive style trainer. But I don't know if it's not that easy to just translate that into the ring. You're right, Bruce. If he lost that killer instinct, he might get hurt in this fight.
And the Saudis, like you said, it's not a business for them. They're just doing this. Maybe my wife's husband said he wanted to see professional boxing, heavyweight boxing. Okay, we have several $1 million to put that through. That's a weekend entertainment for us. And so it's not in the realm of a heavyweight championship fight. I mean, to talk about the Thriller in Manila and the Rumble in the Jungle in the same breath. Come on.
It doesn't belong in the same breath. And you're right. They're not doing anything to promote it. They're doing nothing to promote it.
I was going to tell you, the Saudis have been trying to buy everything lately. I don't know if you noticed, like our golfers are going over there. We got Arnold Palmer.
Golf. Yeah, they're making a big
They want
push.
all our celebrities. They want Tiger. They've been offering Tiger money, but Tiger won't go.
Funny how that talks.
Exactly.
They want to take all
and the bullshit just keeps talking.
What they're saying is they want to make, and they said this on camera to us, they want to make Saudi Arabia the destination for boxing, the Las Vegas of boxing. Maybe I don't know anything, but I think there's no way is that going to work. There's no shot, especially the way they're promoting this fight.
And the human rights record, I mean, that's all coming up into front and center now.
Exactly.
Oh,
Yeah.
It's not even acceptable, the things that they do.
Yeah, exactly. To be honest, this fight for a heavyweight match, we just haven't heard anything about it. Like, I see snippets on YouTube of Usyk's sparring partners sent home. He sent his sparring partners home, but I haven't heard anything from AJ's camp. Like, I don't know. For a guy that's got over 12 million followers on Instagram, man, I know you got more followers than Ryan Garcia, and we just haven't heard nothing. Like. And one thing I've learned from AJ is, and people talk about Ryan Garcia being this massive social media presence, and he's got to be the next big thing. Yeah. Well, how come that hasn't converted with AJ? AJ's got another 4 million followers than Ryan Garcia. That hasn't converted to pay-per-view numbers.
And you know what they're not doing too, George? Your specialty, bro. The 24/7 to get this fight marinated, to get our mouths watering for it. To show where they come from, where they're going, how they won the title, what conditions they came out of. We know nothing about that.
That's the show that we're doing, and it's not gonna. I don't know where it's going to be aired. It might air on YouTube somewhere on some Saudi channel Like literally, we have no idea where this show. We've been working on the show for a month for this fight. That type of show in the camps,
Yep.
and we have no idea where it's going to air. And now I'm hearing it may air 2 days before the fight somewhere. I don't know, but you're
Wow.
right. There's no.
Man,
They're not helping. They're not helping themselves. But I don't think
No.
they care. I don't think they care.
Yeah, well, money's not the issue with them.
Well, who
But,
is the
but
man?
in saying that, if money's not the issue, but the spectacle is, you still want people. You want bums in seats. You want eyes on screens, mate.
Exactly.
And without marketing, mate, you can have the best product in the world, but if you don't know how to market it, it's going to be an unknown to the majority of the world.
Who's the promoter for this fight? Does anyone know?
I think it's Eddie Hearn. It's Matchroom. They're promoting it, but the Saudis own all the broadcast rights and all the shoulder programming rights. So, I don't know. They have a lot of money, but it seems like they don't have the right people with them to help make this bigger. And you're right. If they want to make this big for Saudi Arabia, get the word out there and have shows out there, have something out there, and they're not doing it. It's really strange.
George, those shows you did when you did the Joe Smith Jr., when you did those, man, that's the type of shit I love. Like, that gives people insight into someone's background and how they live day to day, bro. Because, you know what, we like to compare ourselves to great fighters. We like to compare ourselves to just see how normal these people are, to normalise them, But I don't know, man, when they don't do stuff like they did with Spence and Uga, that was another great insight on how people live and, like what they get up to during the day and how their training regime is. And
Oh yeah.
it's just great insight. And George, you know that better than anyone, mate.
Yeah, it's it's a very important part. And Bruce knows growing up, I watch HBO boxing all the time, and my favorite thing besides the fights was when they would do the features on the fighters. Like Tyson was fighting all the time, but they still did a feature on whoever it was he was fighting, Terrell Biggs or whoever it was. They did a story, and it was cool, and it made me either root against the guy or like the guy. And it's just very simple to do, but I don't know. A lot of people don't take advantage of it like they should.
It's crazy, man. It's crazy.
You've got beautiful stories with both of these guys. And we never had the internet when I was growing up, and even now it's kind of almost, this is in its infancy for boxing. Boxing should just take such advantage of this. I'm surprised there isn't a YouTube boxing. That's it, YouTube boxing 24 hours. Live fights, amateur fights. Bro, how could they not make money?
Hey, Bruce, like you said,
how could they not get views?
And we didn't have the internet growing up, so if you wanted to have one of these and speak into a camera, you had to have a gig with Showtime or HBO or NBC, ABC, like whoever broadcasts sports. Now, it's good and bad. It's great if you love boxing because there's great shows on 24 hours a day. You can find someone talking about boxing, or you can throw in a fight. You can watch a Bobby Chacon fight or whatever you want to see.
Oh yeah, and we can get together and we can talk to the fighters. Dude, how many guys have we met that I'm like, man, sometimes I can't even believe I get through 2 hours without passing out. Basically,
you can reach them out on social media.
We had a show. Tim had Tim Witherspoon Jr. on his show Friday night.
I know.
We're have a guest tonight.
And we're puffing up, and he says, "Oh, you guys are smoking." He says, "Hang on a second." He goes and he gets his pipe, and he's talking about how much
he's retired.
We're gonna have to get George on the blunt, so get him on a bong or something. You have to send him a talking to.
George has to be straight. He takes the wheel when I get carried away. He's not designated driver, man. We can all get toasted.
You get the whack.
Oh, but George is in charge. Hey, Tim's got his vape up there. We know Carl's getting ready to get home and pack that bowl as soon as he gets that.
I'm going to work, so I'm straight. I can't have anything till I get home. I'm with you, George. You and I can be the normal ones.
There you go.
That's
It's
another
up.
thing we found on here. We found potheads that love boxing, bro. How
Right.
cool is
Yeah,
that? You know?
yeah. Yeah, it's wicked, man. It's wicked. It's just good to see fellow like-minded people from all around the world, all ages, all races. Like, I think it's fucking great. I really do, man. And I'm only a virgin to this YouTube stuff. I've only been here for about 6 months, 7 months, but I've hit the ground running, George. I've hit the ground running.
I know,
Well,
and that's what I'm
until
saying.
somebody
Yeah,
starts
I
talking
love it,
about,
man. I love chopping it up with guys.
well, you found it here, my brother.
Hey,
Until somebody talks about racism in boxing, honest to God, it doesn't even enter my mind. But as soon as somebody mentions it, then I kind of look around and say, "Hey,
nah,
there's 4 guys in here. Wow, man, you know." But aside from
yeah,
that, it's like, dude,
you lose.
we're fucking. We love boxing. I don't give a fuck. I don't give. Turn us inside out. Dip me in fucking oil, whatever the fuck it may be. You're still gonna find the heart of a fucking boxing fan in here, bro.
Exactly
It's a
right.
commodity.
Exactly
Yeah, it's a
right.
commodity. You find people that are just like you know, and like
Oh,
Bruce is the older version of me.
And the thing is, it's so easy to
That
talk
could be.
about. Like time just flies when you
damn
talk
likely.
boxing. So, hey, Bruce, tomorrow night,
Yeah.
who we talking to again?
Well, we got a good possibility of having Scotty the Bulldog Olsen in there.
Okay.
Scotty was a flyweight. He fought Michael Carbajal. He was an Olympian, a Canadian Olympian, and he just had a near fatal heart attack a few years ago.
Wow.
And Trick was talking to him. We do 3-way calls on there, and he said he'll do it. And I said, great, but you never know about this. It's not like a HBO contract. Sometimes they forget about it
Exactly.
because you know how these boxers, man. Yeah, I know my memory's gone. Sometimes, like we were going to talk to was it? I think it was Mike McCollum one night, and it wasn't my show, but it was my buddy Major Key's show, and we're waiting for him up there. He goes, let me call him, and he gets him. He's pushing the cart in Home Depot, and he's like, oh yeah, oh man. He goes, okay, wait till I get home, and it was like, this is the internet, and I hope it happens. We've been very lucky. God's been blessing us a lot lately, man. But and I figure if they don't do that, I think I think we can maybe talk about a lot of the premature stoppages. We just had one on Saturday night,
Yeah.
and the ones that we've seen, there's been so many of them because everybody says, "Well, which one are you talking about?" I'm like, "Damn, there's been so many, but I can't remember right now." But I'm sure if I do a day of, that might be a good little.
Listen, all I'm thinking, like the first thing, Trick Noti's on there. The first thing I thought of was Michael Dokes and Mike Weaver.
Oh yeah,
Remember that
Joey,
one round
Joey
stoppage?
Curtis. Yep, yeah, I was just watching that fight. Yep, Trick Nolte, my brother. Speak of the devil, and here he is, man, in the flesh. Trick, click that link, bro. Come on up here, man. Grace us with your presence.
But yeah, we could do a good show just on premature stoppages because, I thought it was a bad stoppage on Saturday.
Mm.
People, a lot of it's. I was listening to Randy Gordon, who I respect Randy Gordon a lot. He's a former New York boxing commissioner. He always errs on the side. He always goes with the ref. He says, "Well, the ref is in the ring. The ref sees the fighter's eyes." I don't know. Bartholomew. I would say his name wrong. Bartholomew. He looked like he was okay to me. I was surprised that they stopped the fight. It wasn't the worst stoppage, but it's tough. He got caught. He didn't get a chance to defend himself again because they just stopped the fight. And we could get a good show, Bruce, just on that. If we don't get
Scotty.
Yeah.
But man, that's why I love doing this, Trick. I'm calling you Trick. I'm hoping Trick jumps in here. But George, I love doing this because it doesn't matter, bro. We can talk about boxing, and the people like boxing, and you've got stories, I've got stories, man, and we just kind of I think we weave a nice little rug in there,
Listen,
And,
we could get Tim and talk about Bobby Chacon
Oh yeah,
for
man.
a whole week's worth of shows. So, you're right.
So-
We don't
so
even have to have like a show format. We just all right, what do you want to talk about? Just throw it out there and talk.
Yep, because a lot of these times, a lot of times I'll think about something and I'll have a whole week to think about it. But
just your experiences from HBO alone, bro. As a viewer, that'd be interesting, bro. Just to hear all your stories, bro. Like of coming up, all the people that you met, with your career. You know what I'm saying?
Well, the last show I did, the last one round, I talked about Roy Jones's Radio City Music Hall fight, and that was all a true story. I was the stage manager because Method Man and Redman, the rappers, were leading him to the ring. Before the fight, when they were rehearsing, I'm not going to say his name. I was standing next to an HBO executive, and he was watching, and I was standing near him. I heard him say, "Boy, I hate that rap shit." And boy, wasn't it funny that when we went to air, the microphones were gone. Now, I don't know if he would sabotage that. Well, maybe he didn't care, but Method Man and Redman, when they showed up, they were higher than high can be. So look, maybe they misplaced.
How high were they, George?
Maybe how high were they? They were so high they misplaced their microphones before walking Roy Jones into the ring at Radio City Music Hall. But it was funny because the only time you heard them rapping, they passed near one of the cameras, and the camera mic had it. Otherwise, it was just an instrumental and two guys you're watching on TV. You couldn't hear a thing. So, and I hadn't thought about that fight in a long time, and it just popped into my head.
Well, I'm telling you, there's just so many. Like you said, man, we've been around a little bit. These things will just pop into our heads, and you roll with it. And before you know it, damn, it's 9 o'clock, George. It's time to go to bed. But
how many fights you been to, George? Like total?
Oh.
I mean, more working than I have like to enjoy. I couldn't even tell you. I mean, I've got hundreds of credentials of fights I've been to.
Right.
But I would like to get to more where I'm not working and I can just enjoy it. But
just enjoy it.
You know, it's been a lot. It's been like the last fight I was supposed to go to was the Katie Taylor Amanda Serrano fight. I bought tickets and everything at the Garden, and I couldn't because I got a job. I was in Joe Smith's camp, so I couldn't make it to that one. But
when you had at HBO, they always gave you like a whole package of tickets you could give to your friends and family.
Oh no.
No.
If you weren't working a fight that was if I wasn't working like the upcoming fight on HBO, I could request tickets. I could request 2. It didn't mean you were going to get them, but chances are you did. I mean, you know,
I work here and I get free. Like I clean the windows at the baseball field here, and I get free season pass. You know, to the baseball games.
They're much more generous than HBO was.
And it all depends on the fight too. I mean, if you've got a side against a side, a top quality fight.
I mean, it was easier. Like I had good seats for Miguel Cotto and Shane Mosley. For Felix Trinidad when he fought Joppy in the Garden. They gave us really good seats for those.
Burt Reynolds and Frank Sinatra had to get press passes so they could get good seats for Ali. I'm sure they weren't passing out tickets to George Jakovich's family on that occasion. Look who snuck in here, my brother.
The Trickster. What's up, Trick?
What's up, man? How y'all doing, man?
I just did this. You know, we just talking about you.
Hey, Trick, I just did this to see how the whole StreamYard thing works. I was only going to stand for a minute, and then Tim popped in. Like, people started popping in, and you know how it is. We just start talking boxing.
Cool. Heard y'all talk. Well, how y'all everybody doing, man? Everybody doing okay?
Good, man. Everything's good.
Skywalker boxing. I never heard of you, but how you doing, man? Trick Noty, man.
Yeah, I follow you on Instagram. I see you on Instagram, brother.
Bruce, okay, cool.
More people know who you are than you know who they are, bro.
Yeah, I come on Tuesday Night Fights, man. I see you on there and Bruce's show and panel.
I love it, man. Trick. So many people know Trick. He's like, listen, I don't know you, but it's good to see you.
I've heard of you, sir. Well,
appreciate y'all.
I never really reached out to shoot you a DM or anything, but I've seen you, Trick Noty. Bruce always talked highly of you, bro.
Thank you.
I've met him, man. Trick Noty's a big man. He's a Texan. I'm not gonna get on Trick Noty's bad side, bro.
Hey, Trick, I saw the interview you set up with Drew with Stevie Johnston.
Yeah, that was yesterday. Yeah, man. Yeah, man. And even before that, I talked to Stevie on the phone for about a good hour or so, man. What I'm trying to do. I'm gonna try to get him some work, man, because he said there's nothing out there in Denver for him, like far as like boxing and stuff.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna talk to Reggie Johnson and see if I can get Reggie to hook him up with some training and stuff. I mean, I don't know how they would work that out him coming back and forth to Texas or whatever. But yeah, he needs some work, man. He sounded like he wanted to get back into it. But it was a good interview. A nice guy, man. Real nice guy.
That's what, like, that for me, that's what it's about. The fighters that no one talks about anymore. Everybody talks about Ryan Garcia and even Mayweather, even though he's retired. Everyone talks about these guys and Bud and Spence, but no one talks about guys like Stevie Johnston and Scotty Olsen and people like that. So that's, it's not looking back at the past saying the past is better than the present. It's just talking to former champs or former fighters. I want to hear from these guys.
Yeah, man, Stevie, man. I mean, man, he was a good fighter. I'm gonna say great fighter, man. He deserved to be in the Hall of Fame. And the thing about it was this guy's like 5'3". He's beating guys.
He's short, man.
But he would fight those guys fights, and he was still beat them almost, pretty much. So it's a shame we didn't get him and Floyd Mayweather, him and Shane Mosley. Those have been some good fights. But he was telling us yesterday how HBO would put the money up for him and Shane Mosley. That's what he was telling us yesterday.
Yeah, but that's not surprising.
Yeah, that better been a good fight though. So, but yeah, man. Hopefully tomorrow, man. I'm gonna hit Scotty up tomorrow and see if he still wants to come on. But he said he would, man. I'd love get y'all to talk with him and stuff. I've spoken with him several times. Scotty's a good guy, man.
Yeah. Well, hopefully he does it. But if he doesn't, we'll still be talking about something.
Yeah, y'all was talking about like premature stoppages. You know what I thought a premature stoppage was? When Roy Jones fought Murky Sosa. I thought they kind of stopped that a little early.
Yeah. I remember that fight. You know how Roy was, though. I think some refs they were scared he was going to hurt the other guy, and that's not a good way to ref. Like you can't ref like that. But yeah, that wasn't a great stoppage. But look, that's what I'm saying. You can do it. If we have to, we could do a whole show just talking about that.
While it was happening at the time, I thought the Sugar Ray Leonard stoppage of Thomas Hearns was kind of premature. I'm saying, come on, don't stop that fight. He just rocked him the round before that. And it was like, oh, come on, But, hey, I look back again and I see it differently. But there's a lot of fights like that. If I just started going through my memory a little bit, I'm like, oh, yeah. So many. Because back in the day, they were always
a lot of them.
They always have quality fighters fighting each other. So, man, and the one George was just talking about, the Mike Dokes and Mike Weaver first fight.
Mike Weaver. Mm-hmm.
Oh, because that was right after Dooku Kim. I just talked about that. I was doing a show the other night, and I played that fight, and that was so blatant. The heavyweight championship of the world, premature stoppage, man. Oh,
William, old school. Salute, brother.
Yeah,
salute, William.
Yeah, we could definitely get a whole. I mean, I hope Scotty comes on because there's nothing like talking to these guys, and hearing their stories and what they remember about boxing and hearing how they're doing now. That's I know you guys love that stuff too. So hopefully
there's a lot of people that don't know my uncle, man. I have to tell them, like reference a movie, so they can, kind of know who he is. Or
a lot of these guys have no clue who these fighters that we bring on there. Even like when we had Dave Tiberi last week, a lot of these people who talk boxing all day long. Somebody says, "Oh, you remember Dave Tiberi?" And they'll say, "Oh, who's he? Who's he?" It's like, well, go watch Bruce Gass's Tuesday Night Fights, man. Right. You'll see who he is, and you'll see how important he is to boxing. And then, oh yeah. And excuse me, I gotta give my dog a filet mignon to shut him up over.
Same thing with Tim Witherspoon, and they all have stories, man. Like
oh yeah, definitely, man. Yeah, and I talked to a lot of guys, man. I finally got a hold of Baby Joe Macy, man.
You did, or you're trying to?
Wow.
I did. I finally got a hold to him. Yeah.
What's he up to?
He does some type of I forgot what kind of business he does, but I think he was like a city councilman at one point in time. But he got some kind of job, man. He owns a company. I forgot the name of it or what he does, but
he was construction before he was a full-time fighter.
I forgot what he's back doing again, but he has like a business or something. But him. I got what else I got lined up? John David Jackson, Yoel Judah, Man, I got quite a few guys lined up, man. You know.
Yeah.
You're unbelievable.
And they all have real stories, great
Yep.
stories, and different perspectives, different parts of the country they come from. I love that stuff, Trick. I love you reaching out to these fighters. Seriously, like
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Oh, me too. Chick knows how much I love that.
I appreciate you, brother, man. I tune in on Tuesday night. I know you're part of the backstage and getting these guys set up for them, but I appreciate you, bro.
The fighters.
Oh, thank you, man. Appreciate it,
bro.
You know, and there's a guy named we talked to the Tommy Otardo guy, man. You know, George, the funny part about that, some guy just randomly hit me up. He goes, "Hey, man, I know a guy I think you might want to talk to." And then when I talked to the guy, he kind of started talking a little about the mob stuff, and I was like, I don't know, man. We can kind of keep it boxing, man, because my phone might be tapped, man. So I don't know what's going on, man, with the mob stuff. But yeah, Tommy's a good guy, man. I checked on him the other day.
Bro. That was a great.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, he wanted to get a lot of stuff off his chest.
I got the Filipino connection, man. I've been having Rachel and Nonito come on my show a lot.
Okay, yeah, we can hook up there. We can.
And Casimiro, I got the connection with Casimiro right now, and
okay.
Yes, I've been having the Filipino connection. I have some friends that are deep into the Filipino boxing and are friends with them. So, been meeting some good people, man, on here.
Yeah, we can definitely hook up with some, man. DM me, man. Yeah. We can go from there, man. You know.
Yeah, for sure, brother.
Yeah, I think
Rachel likes to talk a lot about on boxing, man. She'll stay on a show for like 3 hours.
Wow. You have me go on his show. What J-Man, is that his name?
Yeah, J-Man Greyhead. Yeah, Filipino.
He thinks I'm a historian. He always has me go on there and speak of. I mean, I don't say historic fighters. I just say the guys that I grew up watching. But I think he likes to do shows about the classics, Hagler, Hearns, Leonard.
Classic fights, man. Fighting.
And I never get tired of that. I mean,
me either, man. That's why he's up there. And he just says, "Tell me what you know about him," and I'll oh, bro, I saw him at the Civic Center and blah 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 blah. And
tomorrow he's doing Ruben Olivares in the morning. That's good. That's his topic on his show tomorrow.
Oh man.
Oh wow.
That's what I mean. Like,
yeah,
I could just listen, guys. I'm gonna jump off this because I literally was just seeing if this thing worked, and then people just started jumping on, and this is the easiest thing in the world to talk about boxing.
Yeah, my uncle Ruben too. Ruben Olivares. Speaking of him,
who's your uncle?
Huh?
Who's your uncle?
Bobby Chacon.
Oh shit! For real? Wow. Okay.
Bobby Chacon, yeah. Yeah, his picture's right up here. Yeah, guys.
Trick, that's what I'm saying. We could do a whole. I mean, Bobby Chacon. That's a legend right there.
Yeah. So I like that era of boxing, man. I try to go back and I always study it, man. And I'm 40, you know what I mean? So in that era when he was boxing Bazooka and Boza Edwards, I was just being born. I was just being born, man, in '82. So, but yeah, I like that era, bro. They were tough. I seen the battles my uncle's been through, man. With like Bazooka Limon, 15-round battles, you know, all bloody. They fought hardcore back then, man, and I just respect that era, man. That era is nice, man. 70s, 80s, 60s. I like Ali, bro.
Yeah,
I like all the class. That's why I always tune into Bruce and George, man. I have a big appreciation for the history of the sport, bro, and man, you guys always cover the classic great fighters, bro.
Bobby Chacon. I remember when I was only a kid, but HBO had the Boom Boom Mancini Bobby Chacon fight. Bruce, I think you and I might have done this one. It was almost like a going away gift to Chacon because he couldn't fight. He was too small to fight at lightweight. Right. And it was at the end of his career.
Right.
And Mancini stopped him. But I remember Bobby just did his thing, and he just at that point he just didn't have the tools anymore, but he had the heart. And that's unfortunately what gets guys hurt a lot. But I remember I told you before, I remember that fight. I remember him in Boza Edwards and Bazooka Limon. And I know Bruce remembers those fights. Bobby Chacon was he was a great fighter, man. Like a great fighter.
Yeah, he always had a smile on his face, and
I saw many live Chacon fights on via television. Many Chacon fights. And he never failed to live up to expectations, man. Always gave 110%. So, hey George, I think you're an expert with StreamYard now, bro. Look out, a lot of live George Jacks popping up here. So make sure everybody keeps their notification bell on here, man.
Notification bell on. We got George live now. That's great, bro.
You never know, man. George gets the urge to talk about boxing. He'll wake up at 3:00 in the morning and go live and
hop on, bro. Hop on, chop it up, bro.
Hey, now I know how to work it. So
that's it. Look out, YouTube.
I've learned how to talk boxing hours, man. I've been doing it about a month, but now, in the beginning, I had a hard time with it. But I knew everything's on my mind. But
you should be good at it, bro. Hey, Trick Nolte, give me a call when you can. All right, my brother.
Okay, I'll hit you probably about an hour or so. That's cool.
What's that, bro?
I'll hit you about an hour or so. Is that cool?
Yeah, that's cool, man. That's cool.
Y'all gonna hop off too, man. I'm holler at y'all, man.
Talk to you guys soon.
All right, later.
Look at that. So I was doing something just for a minute to see how this whole StreamYard thing works, and a bunch of people came on, and I'm not that good at shouting out people. So Andre, you got Tim, Bruce Gas, Teach was in here. Mad Chad was in the building. Carl the Hunter Hansen was on the show. Mr. Pads. Oh, man, Mr. Pads. Stormy B man was in here. Stormy B. I love people who love boxing and know boxing and just want to talk about it. Andrew Charles, D-Ray Promotions. Got Trick. Trick was in the building. William Old School. Oh, man. So, yeah. It's my first live. Well, really my second, but the first that I know what I'm doing. So, hey, it was fun talking boxing. And I will do it again.